Thank you so much. Well, this is an unusual position for me to be in because normally I'm talking, and if you need tips on style, I'll stay here till tomorrow. This is a different area for me to be talking about. I don't find it that easy to talk about because I always went on the seat of my ass, as you say. When I started, I was 15 years of age when I was approached by a lady in Limerick who had a modelling agency, and she asked me, would I like to be a model? Now, you think back all those years ago, because I get a bit emotional here because it's so long ago, but give me 2 minutes. You never thought you could do or you could be part of. So I always remember telling my poor mother, she didn't even understand the word model at the time. But anyway, what happened was I joined her, and from the get-go, it was an industry that I fell in love with. And nearly 50 years on, I'm still in it. So I think myself that you have to, within business and everything else, and as I go along and tell you the story, for me, I don't understand unless you love it, because I'll tell you why. I don't understand unless you're passionate about something. I also feel it's hugely important, as you'll see with the mistakes I made, to know your industry and to know your business. I started, as I said, at 15, but then I went into business at 22 years of age. And we opened the first boutique in Limerick City. We were there for nearly 19 years. Those times you could only buy fashion. I was very young, well, 22 I suppose is young. I think I was younger than that, I'll get my husband. I think I was a bit younger than that. He helped me with this, I think he has that wrong. So anyway, we used to, we opened in Thomas Street, we used to get in the car, we had a minibus at the time, and we'd drive to London and to the likes of the likes of Great Portland Street. They're still all huge companies down around there. And we would put it in the back of the car and come home and sell it in, out, in, out, in, out. It was just phenomenal. And as I said, I came from, a background that finance, there wasn't much money there, I can tell you that. So within 5 years, 6 years, I had bought myself a plot of land. I built the house that I'm still in today. Thank you, Jesus, for that, because I have loads more to tell you on that story. So, and in between that, we were able to do that. It was phenomenal. We were it was the way we worked it. We travelled, and I had a good old eye, even at that stage in my life. I had a good eye for clothes and a good eye for fashion. But I was also alongside, I need you to listen because the story goes along like this, alongside that I was still doing a bit of modelling. I was still modelling, but then the shop. So we did that for 18 years and it was just phenomenal. And then, like everything else, we're doing so well, let's try something else. So we were approached by these people to start manufacturing husky jackets. They're the husky jackets, the puffy jackets, or whatever you want to call them nowadays. So in we went to this, and the shop was, as I said, absolutely, we couldn't cope with the business we were doing, because I brought Monsoon into Ireland, I brought Pepe jeans into Ireland, we brought lots of brands that were never available in the country, we brought them in. And we opened the factory, and we started manufacturing. We sold it on stores in a lot of bigger stores, and for 5 or 6, no, it's about 6 years, we employed 80 people in the Tate factory in Limerick. And within 7 years or 8 years, the petrol strike, then the bank strike. So we were young. I always believe you need to know your figures and know my idea was you get it, you sell it, and you make a profit. Like old kind of way of doing things. And I suppose, we were trusting accountants, we were trusting everybody else, when we should have been trusting our own gut and listening to what we were up to. But the modelling was still along the side. So the factory went and the shop went. But we were a little bit lucky during that time. The word recession, we never went into liquidation, we just closed. So then we got this idea of opening the Superdome restaurant, which we did, and that went on for 6 or 7 years. And in between that, I had my 2 children. But it was something, I couldn't feel it. My husband couldn't feel it. We were lucky that we had the premises in Rocha Street. It was our premises, and we had it. That was our saving grace. So we were able to do this. But we just couldn't. We were in something that we had experts advising us, even if half the time I felt they were telling us, giving us wrong advice, but wasn't cute enough or smart enough because I didn't know the industry, and neither did my husband, to continue in that. So with that, we decided to move out of it completely. Running alongside that all the time was the modelling, and I was good at it. I knew what we were doing and what we were going. So we turned around and we started doing these wedding fairs. I did the first wedding fair in the country. There was a man who used to own the 2 Mile Inn, Lord Merson. I think he's gone now. I'm not sure whether he's still there or not, but he was a real go-getter, and he had a motel, the 2 Mile Inn, just on the Ennis Road there. And he used to travel a lot, and I remember him ringing me saying, Celia, I have just been in Las Vegas. And I was, where? Las Vegas. That was so many years ago. And he said, I saw this thing in one of the hotels where brides were walking around, and there was a cake shop, and there was cars outside, wherever. So I said, right, wedding fairs. So the word wasn't wedding, it was wedding exhibition or wedding something. So we did the first one there. So we started pulling ourselves together, pulling our socks up after nearly losing everything, and started to fight back with the industry that I knew, that we both knew. Fine, pet, I'm perfect. It's just the sympathy I have with people who went through the last recession and what went down, only recently. That it never happened to us again, thanks be to Jesus, you learn and you never go again. But anyway, we started doing these wedding fairs all over the country, and every hotel you could find, we did it with the bridals, with this, with that. Turned into phenomenal. It was just phenomenal for us. And then 14, 15 years ago, we decided they were working very well, and this is where I was asked about creating business, that you think you know and that you stay in. We knew this, I knew it. I knew the business, so we were watching this, and we did this for quite a few years, and everything started to turn around again. And with that, we get a few months out of it, and then the hotels, the crowds would start, they got sick of them, there were so many of them. So we turned around and we started the Midwest Bridal Exhibition. And we're going into our 16th year this year, and it's one of the biggest bridal exhibitions in the country and one of the biggest in Munster. We get massive crowds into it. It's on in Newell, it's on again in January. So that was phenomenal for us. And alongside that then, I was doing tons of fashion shows and trying to come up with concepts for different ideas. Fashion shows themselves, modelling myself was really, really good, but I always felt we could do other things. So we turned around and I started watching who I could lynch into or what I could do with events. And the great Jim Kenny then, he was great into the arts. He's dead 20 years last week, I think it was last Monday. Great man. I was a big fan of his, and he said he was great into the arts, and he said, what about doing something with the art school and creating a bit of activity and doing something or something. That was maybe 25 years ago. So off I march into him. He was the mayor. There's a bit of a story going on here now. And I knew to do this, I would need funding, need something. So we started the Jim Kenny Awards, student awards. And the first year it was all the students from all around Limerick, all around Ireland, the colleges. And then the following year, or the 2 years after that, I got funding. Thank you, City Hall, and you're still the same, you're so good. When I was watching where I could get funding, of course. And we started the Jim Kenny, we started something like bringing the colleges in from all over the world, and we actually did We got them from Russia, we got them from Italy, we got them from Finland. And I'll never forget that, and that was a phenomenal success. Then you think about that success, making money, back in again with some concept. We got 6 years out of that, and it was super. We drop it then because everything has, things go, they become fashionable, they're not fashionable. You know, we had done it, it was time to move on, so we parked it and moved on. Then Limerick was celebrating its charter, and I was watching this, and I'm just trying to talk about opportunities, because the industry I had, I knew I could get these opportunities from these people if I went with a proposal. So I was forever going with proposals, forever trying to come up with ideas, forever trying to use my head. In I go anyway, and I said, can we do anything for the Charter Limerick celebrating? And at the time, there was a great link with Aeroflot. Yes, the Russian airline, yeah, I have that right. They had a hangar in Shannon, and there was a great cooperation there. So off onto the plane, off out to Russia. Off to Russia, got on the plane in Shannon, thought I was going to Dr. Zhivago, you know, which I love that movie, big fur on me and out the door. As my mother said, look the part, even if you don't own it or there's nothing. So I get to the plane, I went with the Limerick School of Art and Design. Patricia Keelty at the time was head of design. So off we went to Russia, and we get on very quickly, this is just very funny, got on the plane at Shannon, and whatever look I gave, there was nobody on the plane, only Patricia and I. This is maybe 35, it's so many years ago, I can't remember, maybe 25 years ago. And behind us was maybe an army of Russian soldiers. I'm going, oh, what's this? They were actually, at the time, they weren't allowed to get off anywhere. So they used to go on their breaks or holidays to Cuba. So the flight used to go from Newfoundland, out of Cuba, Newfoundland, around the block into Shannon, and then straight over across into Russia. So collect whoever it was, because they had this work relationship with Shannon, because they used to service their planes. So we arrive. Anyway, that was hugely interesting. That was phenomenal for us. And what we did, we went and we arrived in Moscow. We went down to one of the domestic airports, as used to call them. We flew to Estonia. And when I got to Estonia, I couldn't believe life, and that's 35 years gone. I think communist rule was still there at the time, because they were trying to find their, what were they trying to find? They were trying to find their independence. And we were the second country, Ireland, but not representing the government, that had arrived. They sent state cars for us, but that's beside the point. They brought us to a fashion show, and the fashion show was on. There was queues. There was a show in the morning, a show at the lunchtime, a show at night, and a show. All these shows, we had to sit there through the whole lot of them, because there was such a thing. And the show came in from Finland, which wasn't far from Estonia, and we watched this, and we were told the purpose was to visit art schools. The purpose was to bring students in. The purpose was to bring models in. So they were phenomenal to us, but I could see there was no difference really. The models were walking like we were in Limerick or Dublin. The hairstyles were the same. I remember the look was there was a very cowboy look, or fringing and that kind of thing, and that was going on over there. So we flew them in. We got them in. Aeroflot flew them in for us, and we were up to the Late Late Show, and etc., etc. So we did in the old Jetland, which is now where Woody's is. There was a massive area there, and we did the show there. So there again, I created. So I tell you the little stories because some of them are funny. But that was, again, the charter. I saw something happening in Limerick. I went to them with the proposal. I got what I wanted, and we were able to do it. Work, again, in between all the fashion shows. Then, fast forward, and the fabulous Mary, she's down there somewhere, and the gathering, she was the boss. Where are you, darling? She was the boss of the gathering. And we got the idea. If the gathering, I'm watching the poster, and I'm seeing who was grabbing the women over there. We don't want them coming for women this time, we want them coming to visit. And I thought, right, I must look at that. And my mind went back. I'm trying to tell you, about opportunities and the business, and how you have to keep using your mind and your head and try and make it work, even if nobody is making it work for you, that you make it work for yourself. Marched down to Mary Colleen anyway. I said, Mary, I have this project that I did about 13 years actually, since the Jim Kemi. And I said, you're doing the gathering, would you mind getting behind us? And she did. So off we went again and brought colleges from all over the world, put them in one of our beautiful cathedrals, which I wanted to show off the city. So we put it in the Franciscans, yeah. I can make sure I was getting confused with the names of the Franciscans, and it was phenomenal. Don O'Neill came in from New York, the colleges came from over, all the top colleges from London and beyond, Paris, France, wherever. We were everywhere again, all over Europe. And it transpired, I was paid my fee, money again, a job again. And we were in the last 14 as one of the best. In the gathering, they had these awards when it was all over, who did a good job, and we were in there amongst the 14, and we think we came in around 7th. Did we? Yeah, in that one. So, you know, there was other little things that I jumped on. I had a great colleague who worked with Dr. Brendan O'Regan. Any of you know that story? You would have known Dr. Brendan O'Regan. And Dorothy Cantrell was her name. Some of you probably know Dorothy. And she was his secretary for years. So, again, trying to make things work for me, the shows work, we decided that we would... I said, Dorothy, what about doing something north-south? And it was in the middle of the Troubles at the time. So we brought designers from the north, from the south, and we brought them to Belfast and we incorporated designers from the north, and that then reversed back down again to that whole thing reversed down again to Dublin, and then it reversed from Dublin back up to Derry. And I brought the BBC Clothes Show. I went to London and brought Selena Scott into that and brought her to Belfast. And there again, why was I doing this? Because I work for myself. Why was I doing this? Because I had to we're all in, my husband was there with me because he was in the business and he was working alongside me. I had 2 children at the time at school or whatever, and you want to keep it going. So you have to be thinking outside the box a lot of the time, and that happened there. So that went on for about 2 years, and it was in the middle of the Troubles as well. And but it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. That particular one was, and you know, I often think then when I fast forward and I talk about there were so many other things. I could be here all day telling you what we did, but I'm going to tell you all along. What was my forte was that I was able to use my ability as a model to create what we were doing. But we were doing it all around the country, and we would come up with different things like, you do a coffee morning, for what? We do one there. We did a road show, a fashion road show then. I saw that on to Galway as well, where we'd have different models in different boutiques at the same time, and all the boutiques would invite their stores in, invite their customers in, I beg your pardon, give them coffees and teas and do a bit of social media, and it was called a road show, fashion road show, you know, things like that. All about trying to just make sure that I was selling the product, which was myself and everything else. So we fast forward then, and I get a little tired, a small bit tired, not really tired, I suppose I was working harder than I ever worked, but my daughter was always there, but they're now partners, my daughter and my daughter-in-law have been for the past few years. So they're now opening other markets and trying to come up with other ideas that will bring it along, and I'll talk about that now in a few moments. But what I found as well was, social media wasn't there, but what was there? Profile. You wouldn't want to put a camera in front of me, I was in front of the camera. You know, I knew my profile was very, very important. And the kick-off for all this, what happened afterwards, even though everybody knew me around the country, everybody, when I won the VIP First Style Awards, that I was like a tiger or a lion lying in the high grass. I knew I was going to jump. And I got a call from Ireland AM, and it was only on air barely a year, and I got in at the beginning there as a stylist. So I shook it up, changed it. They had one garment, they had one shop, they had one stylist. I changed it all up. I'd have 4 shops on, I'd have 3 shops on. I moved it, so that became hugely successful. A lot of them knew who I was, but not the world, we'll say, not the whole of the country, but a lot of them did. And they would say to me, Celia, can you come and do a show for us? We love the way you present it. Of course. I have the models, I have the crew, I have the compares, I have everything, I have the ramp, I have the production. So that was how we grew so much more business out of that, because the profile, like you Facebook now, Facebook wasn't there then, 15, 17 years ago. We didn't have that, so we needed that, and that's what did it for me. So we grew, check my notes here, we grew all those things because of the winning of that. And then, as my profile moved on there, I started being approached by RTE. Would I do their particular afternoon show? So here I am supplying models, even though I might not be on myself. My models are on, more business. So everything runs, I think, alongside. And before I go on a little bit more, the knocks I've had, if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you today, because it makes you so much stronger. It makes you think outside the box. It makes you work the ass off yourself to make sure that it never happens to you again. And I have never owed a penny or a shilling to anyone since that happened to me. And that's the way we've always been, because it was the biggest lesson of all time. And, not to have experienced it, I would rather, I suppose, when I look back at what we went through, I would rather have not experienced it. But now at this stage in my life, I'm happy that I did, because the knowledge is so important of the downfalls that you can see. You can see them, and nothing can pay for it. Nothing can buy you. Nothing in the world can buy you experience. Nothing. So if you fall, take it all in, and then get back up again and fight. And that's what I have done all my life, because it's the knowledge. I say that to my two girls. Like, it's wonderful they're in the business. It's fantastic, and they have your back. But by God, is there fights, because they're family. They're family, and we're too close, and this goes on, and that goes on. But I begged them, listen, I said, because I've been there, but this is the way to do it now. But I've been there. It may not work, and this goes on a lot, but having said all that, they're amazing. So then I was made ambassador for Oxendales, which was a little feather in the cap for me at this stage of my life. And there again, it's not Celia on Oxendales, it's her models. It's not Celia doing a production or doing a bit of styling. I bring in my daughter, her daughter-in-law. They all come with me. We're like a little group, a little mafia. I bring them all in. I bring everybody along with me, and that is how I work the business. Now, I have, as I said, most what TV things I have been on or not on or whatever, but there's some main things that I think, have brought business in. Like, we do the production on the Rose of Tralee every year. We do the fashion show, which is nearly 2,500 to 3,000 people in the Dome. We do the production on that. We come up with the ideas. And that creates other business within other stores who participate in that, or I can tap into them if I need them to participate in anything. It's keeping as well your markets wide open. What has, television and modelling years ago, why would television be stuck with modelling? It wasn't a thing. Now, of course, there's so much fashion TV shows and fashion programs that the modelling, it has filled a void when you want to make a little bit more capital or a little bit more money. The ploughing championships, as I'm a bit hoarse, I'm doing that for donkey's years, but there again, I meet shops, people from all over the country, and that creates business as well, and creates business for people that in my industry. We work with maybe 4 people who are employed, my husband, my daughter, my daughter-in-law, and myself. We work together as a group. We then bring in around us on a season 30 to 35 people. Within 3 months, we would work in and out those groups, would work within the company. We would have production people who work within the company. They also work for themselves, so we outsource, but they're the same people we work with. The models are the same. So that creates the whole vibe and the whole industry for us. Now, having said all of that, you talk about social media. It was so interesting because I'm a disaster. I have everybody else doing it for me but myself. But I know the importance. It is phenomenal for business. So where do we go from here in our industry when fashion shows are fashion shows are fashion shows? So we decide last year, you were there, Mary, what are we going to do? all these bloggers, we have to do something, we have to get their attention, we have to start. I think we were the first in Ireland, and that was only last May, we came up with a bloggers event. We called it Limerick Live, Limerick Goes Live. And we brought some of the top bloggers to Limerick, and we brought them to showcase all the new areas that we'd opened in our city. We have great social life in the city at the moment, loads of pubs and nightclubs like House. We have the 5-star, which I was very proud of, the Celia Hotel, and then we moved up to 1 or 2 of the cool bars, because it's a rugby city as well, and we've great bars. And then the art school, which is a wonderful, wonderful institution, the Limerick School of Art and Design, and we brought them there. But we had to make social media. How would we turn it around to suit us? And we started this now. Limerick blogged, Limerick this, and it was Prince Charles and Camilla were in Limerick. No, I beg your pardon, we're in Ireland. Who else was there? The Eurovision was launched. Who was trending? We were trending. So, So we've got this concept now, and it's ours, and it's another way of income. It's another way of making money and thinking outside the box, because it's modelling industry at the end of the day. And we've moved that now. We're doing a huge one hopefully November in Adair, and we're taking in Adair, Newcastle West and Abbeyfield, and we're doing it hopefully in the Manor. So that's that side of it. Now, as I said, the social media, I'm just my own person. Sure, you know what, I won all these awards, and I am very grateful for them. At this stage of my life, I think these are all the awards I'm winning, and I have won quite a few. Thank you, God, for that. And I'm very grateful for them. But, standing up here for me was very difficult today, because I'm better off at talking about fashion and posture. But there's one thing, one of you tipped on it, is appearance, and having a good appearance with your work and your social media, that it looks good and everything looks good. It's also good for yourself as a woman. I find women, we all are incredible. I was thrilled that you're going to laugh at this now, I was thrilled that the budget, I see we got a €5 rise in our pension. I'm a pensioner. And I think, I look at myself and I look at people and I say, God, aren't we just, that we can keep going is just incredible. I think it's very, very important that we do keep going. The word retirement, no, I'm told every day by my family to retire. End of hope. I'm not going anywhere. But I do understand, I do believe that, to looking after yourself, Chanel just asked me, do I go to the gym? I don't. I can't stick to gyms. I could never, because it wasn't my generation. Do you ever have a different day of a down day? But it's just, I'm an older generation completely. So what I want from life is a little bit different. But I've always, from day one, and some of my models have gone on to be there's about 5 of them in Dublin at the moment who are from our agency that we trained, who are doing phenomenally well. We've models who left my agency and ended up in Australia and modelling out there phenomenally well. It has nothing to do with your face. We can fix your face. We can fix your hair. Okay? We can get you, if you want to be curvy, that's fantastic. If you want to be curvy, no problem. That's fantastic. If you want to be anything, we can do it. But one thing you have to remember is everything hangs from your shoulders. And that's your greatest, greatest gift. Anything, no matter who you are, you look at models next time and put your hand over their face and just look at the way they carry themselves. They have to carry themselves. So since I started in the industry, I've been crazy mad about posture. I go on about it, I talk about it. Anyone asks me, how do you look good? I blame the posture. I say it's the posture. It's so important because it's your core. Everything is your core, your back. It's how you stand, how you feel. Everything will look really good on you, no matter if you're 5 foot whatever, or 6 foot whatever, if you're size curvy or if you're not. It's how you carry yourself. And the most important part of your body is your shoulders. So always remember to keep your ears over your shoulders. Okay? Okay. All right? Keep your ears. It gives you this posture. It gives you this look. It helps you. You talk about it. So many fabulous, beautiful looking ladies say to me, I'm awful in pictures. How could you be awful? Yes, you could. You know, or do going to the side. Never go to the side when you're doing a picture. Never. I don't want that. Comes out. Always, you know, but keep your ears over your shoulder and, you know, tuck in. Always tuck. You know, tuck your bottom underneath. You needn't keep that. But this, I'm talking 40 years doing this, so it's good to tuck it in and keep yourself. I find I'm like a cat, you know, because the catwalk comes from the way the cats walk, you know, actually originated in Paris, but the way you walk. But, you know, if you look at the cats and models, they walk the same, you know, throw out the feet. It's stretching. It's like a form of yoga. Before I even heard the word yoga, I was at this. So, you know, get the ears over the shoulders and keep the tummy tucked. Costs nothing, tucked. Keep the bottom tucked. And there you are, you're actually straightening yourself. And that's all the models do. They just put the ears over the shoulders, back and down, and they walk. And that's it. And if you're doing a photograph, and I can see all the ladies saying it to me there today, just remember, try keep your shoulders towards the camera and try give your body a turn. Turn your body to the right or to the left. It's very important to give the body shape. You might see me at it there. You know, give the body, you know, you can see me at it. I'm a diddle for it. They call me Celia. I know they're always the photographers in show Celia with the leg, because I'm always at it. But keep your shoulders, not necessarily to, but slightly, but definitely bring your hips slightly to the side and bring your knee into you. Look at the photographer with your shoulders not like that, but sort of nicely like that, that they're straight. And keep your chin up, as they used to say, keep your chin on the mantelpiece, but don't, because you might look to, just keep looking straight at the camera. Never put your hands on your hips, ever, it widens you. Always put your hand, if you want to put your hands anywhere, put them on your waist and smile. Thank you very much.